Welcome back guys. Capcom is conducting the second beta test for Monster Hunter Wilds. You can test the game's performance for free on your PC. In this video I'll be testing the game on my Steam Deck running on SteamOS and Rog Ally running on Windows 11. The game will be officially released on 28 February. Just a couple of weeks from now. I've already done my testing. The game still suffers from performance issues. Just like the previous beta, FSR frame generation in this game produces a ghosting-like effect around the character model. This effect is easily noticeable at lower FPS values. On Rog Ally, I would recommend using AFMF2 instead of FSR frame generation, and it's just FSR 3.0, it's not FSR 3.1. Upscaler is not decoupled from FSR frame generation. On Steam Deck, you need to run the game at 640 by 400 pixels resolution to get the upscalers working. Otherwise, the upscaler will just produce a black screen. This is very disappointing. And even when the game is running at such a low resolution value, FPS won't be close to 30. I'll kick things off with Rog Ally. Adrenaline settings for the game. FreeSync enable. VSync off. I'll disable AFMF2 for the time being. Show you the base performance first. For this game, I've set the UMA buffer size to 6 GB. My Ally is running on the latest official GPU driver, BIOS version 441. Using a 30 watts manual profile, all three power values are at 30 watts. 720p resolution, CPU boost disable. Connected my 8-bit to Ultimate 2C wireless controller to Ally via 2.4 GHz wireless mode. Upon game launch, shaders will get compiled. In-game settings, display mode borderless. Game does not support full screen mode. 720p resolution, VSync off. Graphics preset. First I run the game using the lowest preset. Upscaler set to FSR 3. Frame generation disabled. Upscaling mode quality. Low to lowest settings. Motion blur off. Make sure variable rate shading setting is disabled. Otherwise textures will look like a pixelated mess. I'll use Adrenaline overlay to show you the performance metrics. Loading my profile. In this game we track and hunt monsters for rewards and resources. Using these resources we can craft more powerful armor and weapons that can help us in fighting against more powerful monsters. We are in. This is the lobby. You can see the other players online. Here FPS is close to 26. This is disappointing. Not maintaining 30 FPS, 25 FPS. Now when you enable frame generation at such a low base FPS value, input delay will be a big problem. Just demonstrate this. Frame generation on. Back to the game. Here FPS increased to around 50. Can observe the added amount of smoothness, all thanks to FSR frame generation. Input delay is manageable on Ally, but look at that ugly ghosting effect produced around our character. It's noticeable when I move the camera around like this during motion. They still haven't fixed this problem. Hard elements are not flickering though. One thing that you can do is disable FSR frame generation and then enable AFMF2 via Adrenaline software. This way you will be able to use XeSS Upscaler in conjunction with frame generation. Frame generation off. Upscaler set to XeSS version 1.3. Open Adrenaline software, press Alt plus R keys. From here just enable AFMF2, check its status, it should be active, green tick is here. Search mode set to high, this prevents frame generation effect from getting disabled during fast visual motion. Performance mode quality, VSync off, anti-lag on, FreeSync on. Back to the game. Here FPS is close to 50. Ghosting effect is not produced around a character now. So in this game AFMF2 works better than FSR frame generation. No idea why. Produces less graphical artifacts. Okay, I'll just leave this cave. Go on a hunt. In the open areas performance should be better, I hope. FPS is staying close to 50. some monsters. I'll just engage in combat. Game is not stuttering, so that's good to see. But the performance is really very disappointing. Not even 30 FPS on Ally with the lowest preset. Hitting the GPU bottleneck. Input delay is not a problem. It's not a first person shooter. You can see the frame generation lag value 25 milliseconds. Just call my ride, run away from here. More creatures. So 50 to 60 FPS in the open world when fighting against other creatures. And this is a populated area. I'm not observing any texture works. I just switched to the low preset, XeSS Upscaler preset set to quality. Back to the game. 50 FPS, hitting the GPU bottleneck. Not a big improvement in terms of graphics. Yeah, 47 FPS there. Lost about 3 FPS after switching from lowest to the low preset. Now I'll test the game on Steam Deck. To get the upscalers working properly in this game running on Steam Deck, you need to drop the game's internal resolution to 640 by 400 pixels. Just tap on the settings cog here. Tap on properties, tap on general, tap on the drop down bar next to game resolution, select 640 by 400 and enable this setting, set resolution for internal and external display. For this game I'm using G Proton version 9-24 as the compatibility layer. Start the game. When you run the game for the first time, shaders will get compiled. The first run will be longer than the subsequent runs. We're in the menu. Yeah, display is working properly. In-game settings, resolution 640 by 400 pixels. VSync off. Upscaler set to FSR. Frame generation disabled. Don't even think about it. Using the quality preset of FSR3 upscaler. Low to lowest settings. Motion blur off. Variable rate shading off. This is the lobby. You can see that the player is online and here FPS is close to 13. Game is running like a slideshow. I can count the individual pixels. GPU load is around 95% and look at that high CPU load. Index processor just can't handle the game. Let's enable FSR frame generation now. See what happens. It's literally the worst scenario for using frame generation. On. Yeah, back to the game. FPS increased to around 30. Can observe the added amount of smoothness. I was expecting worse results than this. Can observe the ghosting effect around the character model. Textures on the bottom edge are also flickering on the top edge as well. Disable frame generation. Off. I'll just set the upscaling preset to performance. Back to the game. Yeah, FPS increased to around 90. Image quality is looking very blurry. It's not recommended to play the game on Steam Deck. Oh my god. FPS dropped to 12. Engage in combat. So 15 to 20 FPS on Steam Deck. 12 FPS there. Very disappointed by the game's performance. It runs like garbage on every platform. That's it with the video guys. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.